Hey guys! Enjoying our reaction videos? If you are, please click the link to the reacted video in the description and show the creator lots of support. Thanks guys! Okay guys, we finally made it to the top 3 Dragon Ball Top 24 villains from the TFS DV series. This has been an absolute blast watching this. I was pumped last time when my boy Fat Buu, well Majin Buu, but who gives a fuck about the other iterations? Fat Buu showed up on the list. And again, I think, from my limited knowledge, I think they ranked him fairly. You couldn't make him well, I guess you could make a case for that he was a great villain because he was, but he hasn't been a villain the entire time. I mean, he's Fat Buu, the man who carries many faces, many different iterations. So I get where he came in, but it was fun just seeing him on the list. But I don't know who the top 3 are going to be. I mean, obviously, good old Frieza. I think Frieza's got to be top. That's just my guess. I mean, obviously, I don't know. But if we watch the video together, you guys, I'm sure, have already seen it and know, but I'll find out with you. Okay, number 3. Who's the... Oh, King Piccolo. I forgot about him.
And not a demon. Not a demon king, but instead, a Lord Slug.
This joke is so tired, its nickname is Firestone. But you know, it does speak in King Piccolo's favor that they decided to just rip him off whole hog and search for a decent movie villain.
It's worth noting that these top 3 are all favorites in our eyes. While certain criteria may have put them in a particular order, to us, these last 3 villains are the best the series has to offer, and the finer qualities of each were coined in large part by the demon Namekian slug lord himself, King Piccolo.
King Piccolo.
By the time the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament was wrapping up, we'd had plenty of villains. The comedic trio of the Peel-Off Gang, the ambitious and terrible Red Ribbon Army, the
I forgot about the Red Ribbon Army.
Pie. Even Baba's troop of monstrous misfits in the school.
Quick note. Ten Shinhan didn't make the list because he barely even qualified as an antagonist and hardly even commits any acts of villainy besides breaking Yamcha's leg, which, while terrible, ranks kind of low.
Yeah, broken leg. It's like,
terrifying King
get over it,
Piccolo,
dude.
that we were introduced to a true out-and-out big bad. An all-powerful demon king with sight sets on world domination and the means to do it, sparing nobody in his merciless bloody conquest to secure
that's
his
a good
place
call,
atop
'cause
a throne
I
of
have-
bodies and rubble.
From what you guys have been recommending, I've learned more about him. That's a good call.
From his prison, forced upon him by Master Roshi's late master Mutaito. The first thing on his to-do list is knocking off every single fighter he can find so nobody can put him back where he belongs. Spitting out more children than an Irish Catholic rabbit.
Now he killed Shenron, right?
Previous antagonists from the World Martial Arts Tournament, including Nom, Giran, Manwolf, and even Krillin. No!
Yeah,
that wasn't right.
We're all familiar with death in Dragon Ball, but at this point in the series, Krillin's death is completely shocking and unprecedented.
It's always completely shocking, no matter how many times he gets killed or owned.
Is enough to make your blood run cold as he's helplessly murdered by Piccolo's henchmen, leaving his body for his friends to find and Goku furious.
It was rare until this point to see Goku this heartbroken and angry over, well, anything. But the death of Krillin leaves him in a blind rage that ends up nearly getting him killed. Twice. It's a rampage of revenge and destruction that leads him to
was good. I love those early stories. I really do.
Ultra convenient bullshit. Ultra divine water to stand any chance.
King Piccolo is a frightening, imposing, monstrously strong beast of a villain at this point in the series. His green and purple color scheme work well with his towering figure, and he definitely carries an air of authority around him.
He's a douche.
Fear, he gets shit done. All with a veritable orchestra of musically inspired henchmen to do his bidding. Can I just take a second to admit how crazy it is that Piccolo and all his henchmen are named after instruments, yet still manage to be intimidating?
Yeah, to be bad. Yeah, your name is... Good point.
Wish on the Dragon Ball Z beanbag.
When your name is Piccolo, you don't automatically think badass. That's a good point.
His youth, he's seen to the death of 3 of the main ensemble, including Krillin, Roshi, and Chaozu. And then, in a move never before seen nor repeated, he kills Shenron firsthand, removing any hope of bringing them back.
That shocked me. That was freaking bizarre.
The stakes of the arc to record highs and makes the ensuing battle all the more tense.
What Piccolo does with his youth is also
I really like the early drawing of the villains too, the henchmen and stuff.
His own twisted laws. He even begins a lottery to pick which province he'd attack with his demonic henchmen, nearly getting Bulma's parents killed. It's only thanks to Ten Shinhan that he doesn't wipe them and their city off the face of the earth.
And throughout all of this, his evil, twisted personality is on full display. Whether it be in battle or his role as ruler, everything he does is as dark and twisted as you can get while still keeping this a kid show. Taking control of the world, murdering all opponents, making crime legal, and even betraying the lovable, unforgettable Pilaf trio.
By the way,
I should make fun of him. He's got a lot of the same objectives I do.
He causes no end of grief and suffering for the entire world.
And his battle with Goku really emphasizes his underhanded, villainous character. He uses every dirty tactic he can think of to beat Goku in both of their fights, going as far as to take Ten Shinhan as hostage and then cripple Goku, both as a manner of achieving his victory and flat-out torture. Of course, Goku barely manages to scrap together a win, but never before in the series has he had to fight as hard as he does here.
If there's any strikes against him, it's that he certainly doesn't have much depth besides being incredibly evil. But the visuals and his actions within the story do more than enough to sell him, regardless.
Yeah, but kind of being incredibly evil is some cool depth.
Of a lack of complex motives. Some people just want to see the world burn, and Piccolo is happy to provide the kerosene and matches.
You also say that his use of the Dragon Balls to wish back his youth instead of immortality could be a flaw, but that's arguable too. Also, the manner in which Goku powers up is easily one of the cheapest and least satisfying in the series. But that's more of a mark against the arc and less the character himself. And it's still one of the best arcs in the series, easily the best pre-Z.
Yeah, see,
King
his
Piccolo
henchmen,
set the
I like
tone
the
for main
artwork.
Villains of Dragon Ball, and would be a high bar to hit moving forward. A towering, terrifying, tenacious tyrant. He earns his spot firmly at number 3. Hail to the king, baby.
that was good. I agree with that one.
But what would come after a king but a prince?
Well, a couple of arcs later anyway.
What is the process?
I forgot about that, because Vegeta starts out as a villain,
Killed his father
Oh shit, I should have
met his wife.
Regardless,
I should have
much
called
like
that.
A prince to a
Damn
king,
it.
Prince Vegeta ranks at number 2. Barely, I might add. There's a pretty decent argument for him being numero uno, but that spot has been dominated pretty firmly by...
Hey, don't spoil people, Kaiser.
Of course, because who else could it be?
Vegeta is a complex and
it has to be Frieza, right?
Hardly be measured. Fans of the series need little backstory. He's the Saiyan Prince. He came to Earth for immortality via the Dragon Balls, but Goku and friends send him packing. He then goes on to be a staple for the series in a big way.
While Raditz may have opened the entire world of Dragon Ball to the introduction of monkeys in space, it was the appearance of Vegeta with his bald, burly bestie Nappa that truly set things on a crazy new course.
Are we there
Vegeta's
yet?
design is unique, and in a good way. While most characters would never be able to pull off the troll doll hair and a height that leaves his with most of the cast.
I like
his
Vegeta's character arc too.
Eyes, accompanied by a posture and presence that just
pretty much
screams
the best.
confidence, instantly communicates his personality.
But he's a lot more than he looks. His first appearance in the Saiyan saga uses his partner Nappa to full advantage. His clear authority over Nappa tells the audience, through Nappa's actions, that this character is clearly the more terrifying of the two. And when the Bald Bruiser has murdered his way through most of the present cast, you can only assume that Vegeta must be unstoppable.
And when he does throw down with Goku, it's a marvelous battle. A Saiyan elite versus a commoner in a drag-out, no-holds-barred spectacle that pushes them both to the very brink.
The one thing that will be forever in Dragon Ball is that just insane jealousy of Vegeta towards Goku.
That pushes them both to the very brink in a beam struggle that has arguably never been topped, even edging out Gohan versus Cell for many.
Of course, after his loss on Earth, which took the combined efforts of every single surviving warrior on the battlefield, he would continue to be a big player in the coming Namek saga. With his own selfish goals in mind, he continues the role of villain masterfully, even as an even bigger, badder figure looms over him and the heroes. This is Vegeta at some of his best, too. Outsmarting and outfighting opponents on all sides, sneaking around and strategically murdering his way to victory, until everything comes crashing down for him, as things with Vegeta want to do.
Especially, as they lay this out. It's easy to see why Vegeta is so many people's favorite.
Okay, now you're using 2 words. It's pride. Vegeta is a proud warrior due to his own inherent strength, his status,
I'm a prince, god damn it.
He is the prince of all Saiyans, and it's as intrinsic to his character as his spiky hair and affinity for tights.
Which leads us straight into possibly the most defining aspect of Vegeta's character. his rivalry
Goku.
with Goku.
Right.
While the idea of a rival for a main character had been thrown around more than a few times, few characters actually pursued this goal as feverishly as Vegeta did, and none for nearly the same length of time. While Piccolo's grudge definitely sticks around
talk
for
about
a good while, it's
a
all
one-trick pony. That's all he thinks about at times.
The man's son.
And it's through that rivalry that Vegeta finds both urgency and development. After his crippling defeat at the hands of Frieza, he leaves his dying wishes to Goku. But upon his resurrection, the murdering prince's goals become crystal clear and solitary. Become stronger than Goku. While this overwhelming drive to defeat his rival propels him to new heights through the Cell Saga, in which I might add, he toes the line between
I love this part.
and villain on several occasions.
How many people does he murder in his fight with Android 18?
And how many does he put at risk when he lets Semi-Perfect Cell absorb her? Oh right, all of them.
It isn't until the Buu Saga when we see it come full circle.
Everybody.
After the death of future Trunks, we see a much more subdued, almost domesticated Vegeta.
That's what I mean about the character arc. I like that.
Mostly on keeping up with his training rather than dominating his now deceased rival.
But when Goku re-enters the picture and Vegeta is faced with the reality of the power gap between them, his final act as a villain plays out. Through a Faustian bargain, he gains a tremendous power-up, but at the loss of any moral fiber he may have developed through the series. He careens the fight against Babidi into a grudge match against Goku, slaughtering thousands in a show of intent.
This fight is among the finest in the series as well, showcasing fantastic choreography.
That's good
and
shit right there,
character
yeah.
that
Yeah,
all
that's
add up to
awesome.
One of the most powerful
That's gotta be
movie
one of the
scenes in
greatest
Dragon Ball,
fights,
his
I mean,
sacrifice to defeat Majin Buu.
in the history of
And this is where
superheroes,
the
as far
true
as I'm
complexity of
concerned.
Vegeta comes into play.
We've mentioned his role as an anti-villain before. His goals have never been for the greater good, even after
No.
they have switched from immortality to defeating threats against our heroes. He acts autonomously and with zero regard for the people around him, including allies,
Yep, that's
his
Vegeta.
wife, and his baby son. While he reigns in his violence post-Frieza, this seems more a means to an end than anything. He knows that if he causes trouble, his chances at a fair rematch with Goku go down the drain.
Which is why it's so understandable that when Goku disappears for good, he loses his will to fight and improve with the ferocity on display in the previous arcs. It isn't until Goku makes his reappearance that all those feelings come flooding back, and he makes the worst decision of his life.
Brings out
as amazing as it sounds,
the fight in
does
Vegeta.
not become a good person until the end of the series. It's through his sacrifice that he finally finds redemption, and even then, his single-minded obsession with overcoming Goku isn't properly settled until nearly the end of the entire saga.
And that's what makes his development so incredible.
Yeah.
At no point before
Definitely the
Buu
best
does he
character
ever
arc.
fight for anyone else, even when his goals happen to overlap with others. He is a selfish, violent, merciless bastard throughout nearly the entirety of the series proper, which is what makes him such a great parallel to Goku, whose actions are largely selfish and single-minded as well, though with far more care for the world and people around him. The rivalry between these two works on every level.
It's also worth noting that it's Vegeta's actions that most commonly lead to more conflict.
Yeah, you guys are obviously much more well-versed, certainly in anime and in superhero lore. Where is there a better, more continued rivalry than Goku versus Vegeta? I can't think of any.
Between these two works on every level.
It's also worth noting that it's Vegeta's actions that most commonly lead to more conflict. He goats Frieza into transforming, argues against finding Gero before the creation of the androids, allows Semi-Perfect Cell to absorb Android 18, becoming perfect, and leads to the release of Majin Buu. No other character is
you gotta release Majin Buu.
So
legend in itself.
But through his redemption, we find a character who is now even more ripe for exploration and development. A reformed, genocidal Prince of Death come family man, dead set on protecting his family and his newly
the family
home,
man thing.
Which is why his segments in Battle of Gods and Resurrection F are some of the absolute best. Hell, even Super does tremendous things with him, giving him some of the shining moments of the entire show.
To close, Vegeta starts as a bad man, but ends up being one of the most classic and important characters in the series. Temperamental, violent, and proud, he is the best example of a reformed villain in the series.
Interacting with you guys,
villain from
I don't think there's any character in the series more popular than Vegeta.
It comes as a surprise to all of you.
Even Goku.
Never heard the name Frieza in your lives, anyway.
So there he is.
Millions have had a wide range of aches and pains relieved by Bear aspirin.
Number one's got to be our boy Frieza.
Who've never heard the name Frieza in your lives, anyway.
Here's a list of our honorable mentions.
Yamcha. Crane School? I remember a little bit of that. Tulise? I don't even know a lot of these guys. Lord Slug, Android 13, Super Android Cell Jr. Oh, the Cell Jr. is the Spuds. Deborah, I remember him. Spopovich, he's a dick. I don't like Spopovich. Snipers, the Buu Saga.
Number 1.
Ha! You fools!
Yeah, come on.
That's boring. What do we look like, sheep to you?
It's
Monster Care, come on.
Flavor? 1, look at his design. Shades, baller, suit, red, purple, and baby poop green. Nobody's cooler. 2, he can turn people
It's
into
the Killer
carrots.
Bunny.
It's terrifying.
Run
How can you
away.
beat him if you're a carrot?
Where's that
Overload him
from?
with vitamin A, give him tooth decay with excess sugar. Unless your name starts with a V and ends with Vegeta, get the f*** out of here. He's a mob boss. He'll put a hit on your ass if he doesn't see to your demise himself. 4, he makes mochi on the moon. Points against? Nothing. Monster Carrot's the best. Now he's out to go make a million bunny babies.
All right,
and
come on,
take
let's
over
get
the
serious.
world. DB Sember, out.
1.
That was good.
How many people thought it wasn't going to be Frieza at number 1? Sure, you
I thought it was
can
gonna be
call us
Perfect
boring,
Cell.
but we don't find value in contrarianism just for its own sake.
What the
Some
hell do I
things
know?
are
You got-
obvious because they are right. Not that it's necessarily wrong to think that the number 1 slot should go to Vegeta, King Piccolo, or even Cell or anybody else on this list, frankly, given your preference. But the truth is, we couldn't see anyone else but the Galactic Emperor himself sitting at the top.
His role in the universe
Yeah,
is one of the first
he is
and
a great-
most vital
he's a
parts
great
of Frieza's
dick.
character. Whereas other villains in the series had built up to galaxy-wide domination, it is Frieza who holds the title of full-on Emperor. With dozens, if not hundreds, of races under his employment and/or subjugation, this mighty horned potentate is not just a surprise for our heroes once they touch down on Namek, but the biggest threat they've ever faced.
Whereas
Yeah.
Cell's power and ambition reached only as far as the Earth and poor King Kai's planet. And Buu's antics rarely amounted
Oh,
to
that-
much
that's
more than
true.
the
I didn't
loss
think
of
of
a few
that, too,
planets
the
in
scope.
grand scheme of things. Frieza is the ruler of races and worlds. His impact with
Yeah,
the
see, I
universe
don't-
spans
I don't-
farther than any other.
What's truly terrifying?
They make such a good
about
case.
is
See, I
something
don't
we
know
saw
the
on a
characters
lesser
well
scale
enough to
in
have thought
Vegeta.
that through.
With
That's
Frieza's
good
assault
points.
on Namek, we witness henchmen who dwarf our heroes in every manner at Frieza's beck and call, taking orders without the slightest argument and showing a
Those
bottomless
guys.
fear at the slightest hint of his displeasure. He is their master. And as we watch Vegeta struggling endlessly to even stay alive against these monsters, it's frightening what depths of power this Napoleonic madman could be hiding.
And while he certainly
Little
takes
Napoleon.
his time to get going, each step he takes to his final form leaves bodies in the imprints. He dominates every single one of our heroes with a fraction of his strength and is an unstoppable force through the entire saga, only bowing to Son Goku after forcing him to fulfill an ancient millennia-old alien prophecy.
He has no problem torturing and murdering Nail, Krillin, Dende, Vegeta, and almost Gohan and Piccolo, as he exemplifies his mastery of not just the
Yeah,
galaxy,
that's true.
but
I guess
life
the body
itself.
count backs it
With
up
each new
too.
form, we're
Yeah.
awakened to a fresh new hell. Jeez, I feel like you could write some pretty sick metal lyrics about this guy. Oh, wait. They did.
Oh.
But what makes Frieza
can't
such
do
a
that.
fascinating character isn't just his strength and impact on the
Post-concussion.
universe, but his personality. While his power and composure are imposing, his overall demeanor contrasts this wickedly. While not talking too much about the Japanese side of things, his original voice actor, Ryusei Nakao, is a delight, and the original writing for him in the manga and anime are a treat. His dialogue is flowery, polite, and aristocratic to a T, so much so that it
That makes
comes
it cool.
off as condescending and patronizing to those who he chooses to bargain with.
And while
So-
certain English interpretations of him would vary
little bit like
wildly,
Whis?
Christopher Ayers knocks these qualities out of the park as he finds a middle ground between superiority and petulance, handling his wordier exchanges with a Shakespearean talent and shaking
Yeah,
him down to
I
the
do
core
like
whenever
his
the
dialogue.
heavier, more violent moments come into play.
There's something so slimy and hateful about the way he communicates with others. Think Hans Landa mixed with Emperor Palpatine colored by Dr. Frankenfurter. He's so confident and comfortable with his position that he finds little to lose patience with. The haggling and threatening of the Namekian villagers is loquacious and articulate, but tinged with an undeniable lust for blood and power, and a disdain for the impudent.
And when he finally starts to lose ground, his calm, polite demeanor crashes with wild results. He screams, hollers, and digs deep into his bag of insults and threats against his opponents, undermining his composure
Yeah.
in a way that is
Yeah,
shocking,
see, I
threatening,
didn't.
yet oddly satisfying. He's
It's
a
amazing
spoiled
how
brat
much-
through and through, but one who can easily.
I had thought when I started this it was going to be Perfect Cell at the top, but then again, you guys know my knowledge is the drizzling shits compared to yours, and certainly compared to the TFS crew. And then when I watch this, it's like, okay, that's why they're the experts, and I'm just a dumbass.
He's a spoiled brat through and through, but one who can easily wipe you and your planet off the face of the star map with so much as a thought and a wave of the hand.
Of course, his hubris is his biggest flaw, but that is all just part of his character. The only hope our heroes have on several occasions is that their actions will be beneath Frieza's notice. Whether it be letting Vegeta steal the Dragon Balls from under his nose, or his genocide of the Namekians leaving him without a way to use them. Not to mention his dilly-dallying with Son Goku leading to his ultimate defeat. These moments showcase the flaws that make a perfect villain. Sorry, Cell, you're still my boo.
I do like Cell as a villain, though.
We can't think of
Cell
any
is
other
awesome
villain in the series that checks as many boxes as he does.
Yeah, I was just going to say, they really
one, of
make a
course,
good
being
case
his
for
impact
Frieza.
on
What
the
do you guys think?
franchise. Just ask someone to name some villains from Dragon Ball, and you'll note that a good majority of them name Frieza first. He's also a catalyst for the biggest transformation in the entire series that would change the story and tone of the rest of its run. The Super Saiyan.
Yep.
He even managed to inspire the familial spin-off Cooler. I mean, sure, he was only one entry above bookending this list, but it's still pretty amazing when you're so popular they start making films about your brother. Also, dad, too.
Good call.
Oh, he's dead.
And have you seen any films about Platinum Cell, Diamond Buu? No, you got Golden Frieza in all his tactical glory. Sure, the film itself certainly has its flaws, but the overall point is, it's all about Frieza.
Frieza's a
no
badass,
other villain in the series has a comeback like this, with perhaps the exception of Vegeta. And while the Prince may have done it better, Frieza did it bigger.
Frieza did everything bigger, from his film to his empire. Hell, his power level was so big that they stopped even talking about them after he died. He would then go on to be a measuring stick for all villains after, by both other characters and the fandom itself. When everyone is comparing themselves to you,
see, all the points they make are
slimy, delightfully evil demeanor to his unfathomable strength and his unique, ever-changing design.
Especially in
Frieza locks himself into the number 1 slot on our list and in our hearts. All hail Lord Frieza! May his reign be long and
times Frieza's die.
This has been DB-Sember. Thanks for joining us on this journey.
May he live long,
and tolerate about Dragon Ball.
These guys,
no end in sight for this franchise.
TFS, man, they're so good.
The universe survival arc next year, and we're excited to see where the franchise will go.
And you can expect us to follow each and every step along the way. Leave your comments below and make sure to join us next year as we discuss the top 24 reasons Monster Carrot is actually the best.
All right, that's
Bunny Car, aka Bunny Honey Fur Magnet.
That's a list we need.
And have a happy DB-Sember.
We definitely need that list. How can you not vote for Monster Carrot? I mean, all right, they just listed all of Frieza's accomplishments, and does that make anybody think that Monster Carrot isn't supremely his master? Come on. We're talking about a bunny here. And you know what bunny specialties is, don't you? Enough said. See you, Frieza.